Today we're taking a closer look at the gargantuan Antonov AN-225 for MSFS. We're going to start by opening the nose, then we'll take a look inside. In real life it took about 15 minutes to open the Antonov's nose. To get the airplane into a loading configuration, the legs must be extended and the ramp must be dropped. You can speed this up in the simulator, but it still takes around 2 minutes, so we've sped up the footage even further. So now we've seen the nose open in sequence, let's jump inside and take a look at the flight deck and interior. When the nose is open you can't actually see out of the flight deck, so I'm going to very quickly close the nose before we take a closer look at some of the instruments. As you might expect for an airplane that was designed in the 1980s to carry the Soviet space shuttle Buran, the instrument's very reminiscent of other Antonov and Tupolev aircraft, with old-style analog gauges and a very obscure-looking autopilot panel that you won't see in any other plane. Heading down to the pedestal you can see the throttles there for those 6 engines. And the overhead panel doesn't really contain a lot because all the engine starters, the hydraulics and the engineering controls are located behind the pilot and first officer seats at 2 engineering stations. This is the one on the right, and you'll generally use this to start the airplane from cold and dark, as you can see in one of my other videos. And on the left we have a sort of communications panel. We'll now head a little deeper into the aircraft and take a look at the limited crew accommodation that was available in the AN-225. So first of all, as we exit the flight deck on the right, you'll see a jump seat and also the hatch to the cargo hold. We're going to return to that and explore the hold in just a minute. If we now turn around and continue heading towards the rear of the airplane, so there's a few storage cabinets as you might expect, but then on the right there are 2 sets of seating. I would guess that perhaps on longer flights the AN-225 will carry a primary and secondary crew who were swapped out, but also there'd need to be some seating for any VIPs on board if the cargo was particularly important. Heading to the back of the crew accommodation we can of course see that second set of seating, but there's also a toilet and a small kitchen right at the back here. We can't head any further through this curtain. I'm not sure what was behind it in real life, but please let me know in the comments below. So we're now going to turn around, return through the crew accommodation, and we'll head into the Antonov's cargo hold. So it's now time to head down the hatch into the hold, which could of course carry 225 tons of cargo. The hold is accessed by a small step ladder, and we're now looking towards the front of the plane, so that's the ramp just there. And within the hold itself there's a crane to hoist the massive cargo that the Antonov might carry, as well as some spare landing gear. There are various straps and storage units across both sides, and at the top in the ceiling we can actually see the bare frame of the aircraft. So we're going to flip the camera around now. If you're struggling to get your orientation now we're in the holds, we are actually heading towards the back of the airplane and facing towards the front, so in the distance is that ramp we saw earlier on. We can actually take a look at the door opening sequence from inside the cargo hold. Again it's slightly sped up, so you see the nose rise. There's a small pause while the legs extend, and you can really tell from inside the aircraft that the whole airplane actually moves downwards once those legs touch the ground, and then of course they're followed by the ramp. That concludes the tour, but before we go let's take a look at some of the more unique features at the exterior of this aircraft. So there's a massive vertical stabilizer on the back of the plane, of course those 6 turbofan engines, and the most landing gear you will ever see on an aeroplane. There are 28 wheels on the main gear alone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please drop a like, feel free to subscribe, take care, and I'll see you next time.